I just wanted to light a candle for my sister, but they laughed, blocked my way, and spit on her name until the flame touched her diary and the truth burned everything down. That was all I wanted. Just a single flame in a silent corner of the chapel, beneath her name etched in cold stone. But they wouldn't even let me have that. You'd think that after all this time, 2 years since she fell from the campus library's upper floor, they would have forgotten her. But no. Not only did they erase her memory from the university records, but they turned her death into a joke, a rumor, a warning. She was unstable. She was obsessed. She was a freak. No one said her name anymore, except me. My sister wasn't perfect, but she was everything to me. I was the quiet one. She was the fire. I was shadows. She was light. And maybe that's why they had to extinguish her. I hadn't returned to Blackridge University since that night. The police ruled it a suicide. Quick investigation. Closed file. No follow-ups. But I knew my sister. She didn't jump. She was pushed. And the ones who did it, they walked free. They smiled in interviews. They gave speeches at her memorial. They wore her memory like a badge, then spat behind the curtain. Now I had returned. Not to confront. Not to cause a scene. I just wanted peace. For her. For me. I came during winter lights, when alumni were invited to the campus for an evening vigil. Thousands of candles. Quiet music. Chimes echoing through the halls. And all I wanted was to place one candle near the fountain where she used to sit, right next to the little plaque they had once installed. In memory of her. They had removed even that now. But I came with a candle anyway. As I neared the fountain, I saw them, the ones who had once been her friends. Her dorm mates. The ones who told the police they tried to help her. Lana. Travis. Dean's favorite golden boy, Elliot Crane. They stood there, laughing. And as I approached, holding nothing but a small candle, Lana turned to me and sneered. You really think lighting that's gonna change what she was? Travis stepped forward, arms crossed. She humiliated us. Lied. Accused us of things she couldn't prove. And then she cracked. You should be thanking us for surviving her madness. I stayed silent. I looked past them, at the marble space where her plaque once stood. But Elliot. He leaned in close, voice low, venomous. She was a stain on this place. And stains get cleaned up. Then he did the unthinkable. He spit on the ground where she once sat, where she once smiled, where she once kissed my forehead and told me she was finally happy. My hand trembled around the candle. But I said nothing. Not yet. I turned and walked away. Not because I was scared, but because I felt something shift. I didn't just want to light a candle anymore. I wanted to set something ablaze. I returned to my dorm that night with the candle still in my pocket, unlit. I couldn't stop shaking. From rage. From grief. From the memory of the way Elliot's words sliced through the night like a knife made of ice. I sat alone in that room, the same one she had once visited after late-night study sessions, and stared at the last thing she had left me. A worn brown leather diary. Untouched. Unopened. I had never dared to look inside it, because I was afraid of what I might find. For 2 years, I kept telling myself it was just a journal. Maybe thoughts. Sketches. Poetry. She was always scribbling in it, but never letting anyone read. That night, something whispered through me. Light the candle and open it. I struck a match, held the flame to the wick, and placed the candle on the desk beside the diary. As the light flickered across its cover, I noticed something I'd never seen before, faint burn marks along the spine. Almost invisible unless you looked close. A hidden seam in the leather. I pressed it. Click. The diary unlocked. My breath caught. Inside wasn't poetry. It was testimony. Page after page. Dates. Times. Names. Screenshots printed and pasted. Conversations transcribed. Recordings. Photos of bruises. Screenshots of emails she had received, threats, coercion, warnings from Lana and Travis and Elliot. They tried to break her. And when she didn't break, they decided to destroy her. But Annam was smarter. She had been collecting it all. Silently. Patiently. Not for revenge. For truth. And that made me realize. She never intended to end her life. She was about to go public. The last page wasn't a journal entry. It was a draft of an email, addressed to the university board. Subject line, formal complaint against Elliot Crane and others, harassment, assault, threats. The timestamp, 11:38 p.m. She died at 12:12 a.m. I leaned back in my chair, heart racing. Tears stung my eyes, not from sadness anymore, but from fury. They hadn't just pushed her. They silenced her. And then they spit on her name. I looked down at the candle's soft glow. And in that moment, I swore to her, I'll finish what you started. But not with screaming. Not with fists. With truth. The kind of truth that doesn't whisper. It roars. I didn't sleep that night. I read every single page of her diary. Twice. Each word more damning than the last. She had documented everything. The day Elliot accidentally locked her in the basement archives. The night Lana laced her drink and laughed when Annam stumbled into the quad, confused and shivering. The morning Travis sent her a photo of herself sleeping in her dorm, taken from outside her window. And when she confronted them, they turned on her, said she was unstable, said she was threatening them. But here's the thing about truth. Even when buried, even when scorched, it survives. And when you light the match, it doesn't just rise, it burns everything down. I had what I needed now. But I couldn't go straight to the authorities. They'd already failed her once. No, I needed to do this my way. On her terms. So I started with whispers. I took the files, scanned them, copied them, encrypted them. Then I printed 3 anonymous letters. Each one had a single line on the front. She didn't fall. You let her drop. Inside, select photos from the diary. And a QR code to a hidden online folder. Recipients. The university's internal review board. The local student press. Elliot's own father, Senator Gerald Crane. 3 days later, the cracks began to show. The student newspaper ran a cryptic headline. Death at Blackridge. Suicide or silencing? The board issued a quiet, nervous statement. We're looking into allegations regarding past events on campus. And Elliot? He went silent. Lana was the first to break. She confronted me behind the old dining hall. Her face was pale, her lips trembling. What do you want from us? She spat. I stared at her. I want you to tell the truth, I said. Before the fire gets to you too. She didn't understand. Not yet. But she would. Because I wasn't just handing out evidence. I was planning the event. The one Annam was never allowed to have. A memorial on campus. One they couldn't block, couldn't mock, couldn't erase. I called it the Candle Vigil. But it wouldn't just be wax and light. It would be flame and reckoning. The flyers went up overnight. Printed in black and white with a single image at the center. Annam, laughing. Alive. Her curls wild in the wind as she stood at the top of the library steps, the same steps they said she jumped from. Beneath the photo were the words, Vigil for Annam Remengon, but not silenced. June 4th, 8 p.m., Fountain Court. No university logo. No sponsors. No approval. Just truth, posted on every wall, bathroom stall, bulletin board, and mailbox on campus. By noon the next day, it was all anyone was talking about. The administration tried to stop it. Emails went out. Unauthorized event. Violation of campus policy. But it was too late. Students wanted the truth. They wanted to know why her name had vanished, why the footage from that night had never been released, why her room had been cleared within 24 hours. And when I posted the link to her diary under an anonymous handle, everything exploded. Screenshots, scans, her final message. Shared, tweeted, forwarded, translated. Annam's voice was finally loud enough to drown them out. By 7:30 p.m. on the night of the vigil, the quad was full. Hundreds gathered, some holding candles, others holding signs. She deserved justice. We remember Annam. Believe survivors. She didn't fall, she was pushed. And I stood at the front, candle in hand, my voice shaking. I'm not here to make you cry, I said into the mic. I'm here to tell you that the girl you forgot remembered everything. I held up the diary. This was her weapon. Not hate. Not revenge. Truth. And truth doesn't die, it waits. I stepped down, and as I did, something caught my eye. In the back of the crowd, Elliot Crane, watching, face like marble, arms crossed. But I wasn't afraid anymore. I walked straight to the center of the fountain, kneeled, lit my candle, placed it on the stone where her plaque had once been, then pulled the match back out and dropped it onto the pages of the last copy of the diary. The fire caught, fast, bright. Her words turned into light, into truth. Students gasped. Some cried. But they didn't stop me, because they understood. This wasn't destruction. It was resurrection. By morning, the fire had spread. Not the physical one. The match had only singed paper, but the one that burns through silence. The university's servers crashed. The student paper's expose went viral. News vans lined the gates by noon. And Elliot? He disappeared. No classes. No press statements. No smug smile. But the damage was done. Her diary had reached everyone. I was called into the dean's office. They asked if I orchestrated it, if I forged the documents, if I was trying to destabilize the institution. I didn't flinch. All I did, I said, was light a candle. You're the ones who fueled the fire. They had no answer. But someone else did. Lana cracked. She walked into the student center with red eyes, shaking hands, and a full confession. I can't live with it anymore, she told the press. She was telling the truth. We set her up. We lied. And when she said she was going to expose us, Elliot said we had to handle it. When asked what that meant, she whispered. He said, people like her fall all the time. 2 hours later, Travis was arrested. He was caught trying to destroy evidence in his apartment. Flash drives, emails, photos. He didn't speak, but his silence was as loud as any scream. And then, Elliot Crane, the golden boy, the senator's pride. He was taken in not by campus police, but by the FBI. Turns out, Annam had been digging deeper than anyone realized. Her notes, her timeline, linked him to other cover-ups. Payments, records, threats made to at least 2 other female students. Annam had gathered more than enough. She had just needed a spark. The hearings became national news. Senator Crane tried to save his son. Denied it all. But the footage, the testimony, the diary pages, they were irrefutable. For the first time in years, the untouchables were on trial. Not in secret. Not behind oak doors. But under the eyes of the very people they once stepped on. I sat in the gallery every day, wearing my sister's ring, holding a candle in my pocket. And when the verdict came in, guilty. Travis, accessory to conspiracy and obstruction. Lana, coerced cooperation, reduced sentence for full testimony. Elliot, assault, coercion, intimidation, and conspiracy, 20 years. He looked at me as they cuffed him. But this time, there was no smirk. No smirk, just fear. The day they sentenced Elliot Crane, it rained. The courtroom was packed. Journalists, students, former professors who once called my sister difficult. Now they sat with folded hands and hollow faces. I didn't clap when the sentence was read. I didn't smile. Justice isn't supposed to feel good. It's supposed to feel right. But I didn't come for celebration. I came to finish what she started. I left the courthouse and walked straight to the center of campus, back to Fountain Court. The marble had been cleaned since the vigil, but a faint shadow still lingered where the candle burned. In my coat pocket was a new plaque. Custom made. Heavy. Real. I knelt and placed it at the edge of the fountain, pressing it into the stone. Adam Remen. She remembered everything. And now, so will we. A voice behind me. You know this will piss off the board, right? I turned. It was Jasmine, editor of the student paper. The one who risked her internship to publish the story. I nodded. Good. Let them be uncomfortable. She deserved more than silence. She stepped forward, handed me a USB. Copies of everything, the full archive. We're building a permanent memorial site. My fingers closed around it. The last of Annam's words. Proof. Light. Flame. Weeks passed. The campus changed. Her name was added back to university records. A portrait was hung in the humanities building, where she once led debates no one could win. Professors told her story now, not as a tragedy, but as a lesson. I stayed one more semester. Not because I needed the credit, but because I wanted to make sure they never forgot her again. I started a program in her name. Scholarships for students who reported injustice. Workshops for survivors. A mentorship space called the Flame Room. The entrance? Lined with a row of candles, real and digital. Each one lit by someone who once felt voiceless. Each one a spark she helped ignite. On the last day of term, I walked past the fountain again. Snow was falling. The marble shimmered. I reached into my coat, pulled out a match, lit a small candle, and placed it beside her plaque. I spoke her name aloud, not in pain, not in grief, but in strength. Annam, you weren't a flame that died. You were the match. And now the whole sky is on fire.